Thank you. I'm thrilled to be here on behalf of a large working group of students and faculty sponsored by the University of Michigan Center for Global Health to share with you this handbook that we've come together to produce through our consortium. So to get us started, imagine that you are a student, and many of you are preparing to do work abroad. And you're well-intentioned, you want your work to have a significant impact, you want your work to be reflected in the larger knowledge base of global health. That's a complicated task that you're taking on. So maybe you may start to think about some of these questions. You'll think about, is my project sustainable? How do I work effectively with local partners? What is the significance of this project? Is my project culturally appropriate? How should I act when I'm working abroad in another country? And how and to whom do I disseminate my results once I've done this project? Now, as many of the speakers throughout this conference have told us, more and more students are engaging in work abroad. But a student in and of himself is not prepared to answer these questions. And so our task force went about assembling a guide that our students can use to prepare themselves for their work abroad. As we know, global health professionals are continuing to pursue a unifying definition of what constitutes global health research, as well as the standards by which it should be conducted. We did find in our review of the literature some introductory guidelines for students to follow when they're conducting research and service abroad, but we didn't find a guide specifically directed towards students for their global engagement that was as all-encompassing as we felt it needed to be for our students to do their projects. With that in mind, we had two objectives for this project. The first was to create this handbook. We call it the Handbook of Standards for Global Engagement, for use by students before, during, and after they participate in international research and service activities. Within this, we wanted to provide the necessary information that they need to be effective in their work, and that included ethics, project design, professionalism, and also logistical concerns that we all face. And so the process by which we went about this, the Center for Global Health at the university assembled a multidisciplinary student and faculty task force to tackle this project. They provided faculty, staff, and logistical support to create this handbook. This task force met over an 8-month period to draft this document, and we're very proud that we had over 40 students representing nearly all of the colleges and schools at our university participate in its development. We began with a review of the existing sources, and these included published ethical guidelines and consensus statements where we could find them. And we also drew a lot upon student and faculty experience, particularly when we were looking for illustrative case studies, resources and readings that have been formative for their training, and also examples of resources that we could provide to our students in this guide. Here's a picture of our students hard at work drafting the document. The creation of this document was not without challenges. We're working at the University of Michigan, which is a large and decentralized university, and we wanted to disseminate the results throughout this university. So thinking about that, we had an audience of students from many disciplines who also have varying levels of previous experience, and we were writing to a very diverse audience. They are heading to a variety of international destinations to do many different projects, both research and service. And of course, the existing sources that we were pulling from were scattered across academic disciplines, NGOs, governmental organizations, and professional organizations. So it was quite a task. The results, we've created the handbook. It's available. I have paper copies, and it's also on the web, so I will give you all the link. What we did is we feel that this addresses core competencies that students should be trained in before going abroad. So we address knowledge, attitudes, and practices that we hope can span disciplines in training students before they go abroad. We encourage them to reflect upon the purpose of their projects, upon the depth of collaboration that they've established in the host country, upon the ways in which their results can be meaningfully disseminated when they come back. And we really wanted to enable focused, targeted discussion with their peers, with their advisors, and with their collaborators both locally and abroad, to sort of lead them through the process of having the discussions they needed to have to get their projects going. And it was designed to be used both before, during, and after working abroad, so preparation, implementation, dissemination. And we also took into account that students may be doing all sorts of different levels of engagement. They may be working with a large organization, they may be working independently, they may be working with a faculty supervisor. But we feel like the processes that we lead them through are applicable to those different levels of experiences that they may be having. And so, after much debate and discussion, we settled on 5 main areas of content. I have some here, we have another slide. First, we of course wanted to start with ethics. And we use this chapter really to frame all of the big issues that students are going to encounter and need to think about before they go abroad. So things like sustainability and cultural competency and why it's important to work with local partners, just framing those in kind of a broad context. Next, after that introduction, we have a nitty-gritty chapter here, the project development with international partners. We just do a how-to here. Really, if you're thinking about designing a project, how do you start to do that? It can seem overwhelming. So the planning stage, the design stage, implementation, dissemination, just concrete steps that you can take to lead you through that. Next, because we're working with students who may have never done this before, we wanted to provide guidelines for professional behavior abroad. So just day-to-day behavior, how does one comport oneself? Knowing your own competence and limitations, addressing those and being very open with those, not operating beyond your own competence just because you're in a new setting, and not promising more than you can deliver, of course. How to collaborate effectively and on equal footing with your international collaborators, and of course just professionalism. Next, we addressed global citizenship and advocacy, and really what we wanted to do here is give students an idea of how they could situate their projects within the larger realm of global health service and research, how they could contribute to this community that we're all building here, and so how they could disseminate their results and share it with their partners in academia, in governmental and non-governmental organizations, in the public sphere, both here and where they were working. And finally, again, because these are students and a common pitfall for students are those logistics, we wanted to help lead them through those. And so we really addressed health, safety, and financial concerns to help students be effective and not have those basic needs be a problem. After we had drafted the document, we circulated it to student associates of the Center for Global Health to get their feedback and on whether this would be a useful document for them. Overall, it was really positive. I just wanted to share one illustrative comment. So this is from a medical student, and the student says, the fact that this document was prepared by students and for students is one of its greatest strengths. Challenges and suggestions are laid out in a clear manner, keeping in mind the limitations of student work and resources. This is a great starting point and reference for students to consult throughout their research and learning endeavors. So we feel pretty good about that. And now the Center for Global Health has posted this on their website, and we are really advocating its use for all students at our university before they go abroad. But we're not stopping there. We have some future directions. And so our task force is working now on developing online training modules that students can use, sort of an interactive way of learning before and while you're doing your projects. And then we're also working to develop a pre-departure course that students can take on global health ethics. And finally, we're working with the university as it implements a centralized global portal that's campus-wide, and having this be a lesson on the global portal where the entire university is actually referred by their department to do their pre-departure training. And so we're trying to integrate into that system as well, which is really an ideal venue for us to reach the multidisciplinary students that we were writing to. And one other thing we wanted to mention, we really specifically chose to publish this under a Creative Commons license because we want other universities to be able to build on what we've done. And so the Creative Commons license is an alternative to a copyright, which allows anyone to take what we've done, edit it for your own purposes, and use it, so long as it's a non-commercial use, of course, and really take it, build on it, and make it work for you. And so I've posted more information about Creative Commons here, but also we have our email at the bottom. Anyone who's interested in using this in your organization, please feel free to email us. We'll send it to you, and you can adapt it as you see fit. The conclusions that we drew from this experience so far is that the support from our new Interdisciplinary Center for Global Health at the University of Michigan was really important in drawing together the multidisciplinary student and faculty support we needed to create this document. And we really feel that although taking the interdisciplinary approach that we did take is a challenge because you have so many perspectives to integrate and so many people and challenges you could be speaking to, we feel the benefits outweigh that and that we have a really inclusive document that we've created here. And finally, we hope that the handbook can become a standard part of university-sponsored activities abroad preparation before you go. Thank you. And this is our link, and if anybody wants to go online and get the publication, it's right there. So go ahead and download it for yourself. Thanks.